All right, everybody. Can you guys see me and hear me? And we doing okay? How's everybody doing? You guys can see me and hear me? And I flicked the stream on at the exact moment the Niners took the lead. Okay. So let me go ahead and put the alert out on the Discord. Yep. Very little positive to take away from a game like that. Yeah, inconsistency, man. Inconsistency. There's something to be said for that. Like last week was legitimately a great win, a very impressive win. And that team can come out a week later and play like that. It does. The whole league kind of feels inconsistent, though, admittedly. Hmm. Maybe something happened with Trey Brown right before kickoff, and they were like, okay, we got to scrap him. Yeah, pretentious Cameron. Usually I don't talk about things like that, but I am probably going to make a video this week about what you're talking about. All right. So, got about 60 people in the YouTube side right now. I don't think Trey Brown would have won us that game, though. So, I'm going to let people keep filtering in. But honestly, after a game like that, a lot of people probably just aren't going to show up, and who can blame them? So, yeah, Seahawks get blown out 31-10 with their one touchdown coming in garbage time. Really bad. Really bad. Players that played like noticeably and meaningfully well would be Michael Dixon. Uh, uh, and I'm struggling now, guys. I guess Ernest Jones played decently, as near as I could tell. Maybe. Yeah, it's bad right now. So I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. I am a little bit high right now, and that game was such an incoherent mess of garbage that I'm gonna do my best to like string this stream along, but I am a little bit out of it, and I don't know. I just kind of want to talk about what needs to be talked about and then just go. So Seahawks offense plays really poorly, somewhat understandable without Metcalf on the field. Defense does badly for reasons that I don't think are nearly as excusable. Yeah. How much cap do we have? Not a lot, but well, I mean, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna go trade for? What are we gonna trade for Devonte Adams? Like, what are we doing? How much faith do you have left in JS, Brendan? Um, I would kind of like to say I can't really answer that. I can't really answer that. We don't know how much of the old stuff was JS and how much was Pete. So I don't know. You would hope he gets a good opportunity without Pete, but maybe he was behind a lot of the bad decisions in recent years. Thoughts on McDonald's lack of adjustments? He must just have no faith in these guys. Spoon is really starting to get on my nerves. It's a sophomore slump, guys. It's far from the first time a player's gone through a sophomore slump. Oh, Dak, you don't tell me. Dak. Dak. Grub is making me miss Shoddy. I mean, guys, some people don't want to accept this. Pretty much every offensive coordinator the Seahawks have had over the last 12 years has been pretty good. Bevel was pretty good. Schottenheimer was pretty good. Waldron was pretty good. Grubb, I'm not so sure yet. Overall, you'd say the results are all right. Well, the Niners winning would be the perfect end to this day. The 49ers winning this game would be just perfect to end this day, which sucked all the way around for the Seahawks. They got almost no assistance. Rams are back. Cardinals are back. Niners about to be back. I really think McDonald is incapable of head coaching a football team while calling plays. He needs to try to let in Aiden Dirt or Leslie Frazier, especially if the play calling is going to be like this, right? Like, there's nothing that we're doing that seems exotic or strange or complicated. So, in theory, anybody should be able to do that, right? The team is still taking shape. We are still bringing guys in that have no idea how to operate in our defensive system. I just don't. I just don't see them trying, is my problem. Okay? I just don't know. I just don't know how they can be getting better at it if they're not even trying it, right? They're not even trying it. All right, so we got over 100 people on the YouTube side. So I'm going to say thank you, everybody, for coming out to the stream tonight and hanging out with me for part of your evening. We're going to talk about this Bills Seahawks game and just talk about where things stand right now as a team, how we feel. I'll be wrapping up sometime around the end of the Sunday Night Football game, this Cowboys-Niners game. Please like the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. I take donations in many forms. You can become a channel member. Those are the best ways to check things out around here. Why is D. Williams? I'm going to be honest, guys. If D. Williams isn't off this team this week, that's going to start making me feel like McDonald might not be the guy. Or that, there's something is going wrong in this organization on some level to allow D. Williams to continue to be on the team after this game. If we miss the playoffs, do you expect Geno to be back next season? Well, I don't know how connected those two events are. Like, our defense right now looks like one of the worst in football. If we miss the playoffs, but we have a top 5 offense, I don't think you move on from the quarterback, but Obviously, if it's more like a top 15 offense, then it's a little bit easier. Thoughts on JSN today? I mean, he was fine. I didn't feel like he had some monster impact on this game, but he was fine. You know, it's not his fault. The only players that I really blame on the offense on the field would have been probably Connor Williams, Anthony Bradford, Lake, and Tomlinson. Everybody else was just kind of like, well, I can't ask for them to carry the weight like that. Like, Tyler Lockett is never going to be a 4-3 speed guy anymore who beats people down the field and makes defenses scared. Did you vote for president? Yeah. He wasn't the problem, but he did not look any better than Baker today, that's for sure. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I think he probably was better than Baker just because Baker's body was breaking down, but I mean, Ernest Jones didn't make anything better, right? You know, I actually said nice things about Connor Williams this week too because he did play really well against Atlanta. I need to just stop saying nice things about anybody, I guess. I can't say anything nice about players. Or they're just going to come out the very next game and smack it down. What players are safe besides Leo? Oh, touchdown Kittle. Flag. Aha. Eat it. Leo, Cross, JSN, Spoon, and Murphy. Who is safe besides those guys? I mean, Dixon. I believe John Schneider is a big part of the problem. I mean, if he's had complete personnel control over the last decade plus, then yeah, it is. That's the part that's just really hard to know. How do you feel about Gino's interception? I don't really think Gino has an interception problem. Like the interception today was extremely fluky. For one, if we're just talking about today, that interception is like an all-time fluke. You know, I'm surprised they picked that up. Woolen cannot tack. Yeah, I mean, I hate to dig into the guy because he has played really well so far this year. He's been especially locked down in coverage. But Woolen was bad today. And a player in his position does not need to be doing that. Where's Trey Brown when you need him? See, I told you guys, Trey Brown's a good player. I told you guys that you'd be calling for him back sooner rather than later. Trey Brown is a good player. Do we trade Woolen? At the end of the year, I could see it. I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but more games like this, and I do think it will happen because I think that he may not fit what McDonald wants, especially as a man primary corner. And it's also very possible that he that we just decide we can't pay him because we have to pay Spoon. Why would you trade Woolen? He's really good and costs nothing. Well, he wants. We're assuming after the season he demands a monster extension, which I'm sure he will. He's played for peanuts for 3 years. So I would say that it's possible just so you can clear enough space to pay Spoon the next year. The run defense is really scaring me. The run defense is really scaring me because that's the side where McDonald is probably the cause. Excuse me. Like, McDonald is probably the problem with the run defense, especially at this point. It doesn't matter who the players are. Doesn't have Woolen have 2 more years? Oh, we're saying after this year. He has 1 more year after this year is done, right? So at the end of the year, he could demand an extension. If we get Lucas and Fant back next week, I will be happy. I think we'll get Fant back, but probably not Lucas. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got Leo Big Cat back. We got Murphy back. We got Ernest Jones in there. We got Mafe back, I guess, if you want to throw him in there, and they still can't stop the run. And some people talked about this offseason about how that Ravens team was really poor against the run after like week 10 last year. And McDonald couldn't fix it. Wouldn't you agree that next season is our all-in year to win the Super Bowl? I mean, we got to be in a certain position, a certain good position before we get there, right? Like if this team goes, 6 wins or something, which I don't know how realistic that is. Maybe it's like, maybe 7's the floor. The absolute floor would be like 7. But even if that happens, like that's not enough to make you feel like you're going to go win the Super Bowl the next year. I don't really understand. Like, I don't think it makes much sense to rebuild when so much of your team is already really young, right? Like, are we really going to just say, okay, let's just sell Frost and Woolen and Witherspoon and JSN and Hall and Mafe to the highest bidder and start over? Is that what we're talking about? Because I'm not really into that. I mean, obviously there are going to be guys that need to go because it's their time to go. Like Lockett needs to go because he's going to retire probably anyway. Dodson's going to go this offseason just because I don't think he's worth all that much after all. I'm really disappointed in him. I feel like Leonard Williams kind of took this game off too. I have to admit I was pretty disappointed in his performance and what I perceive to be a lack of effort. This is where Dallas lets the game get away from them. Yep. This is where Dallas lets the game get away from them. The main shakeup that I would like to see would be on the interior of that offensive line. Would you trade Draymond Jones in a third to the page? We don't need to be giving up more draft picks. We already gave up one that we may end up regretting. Let's not do more things we'll regret. I think at this point, the idea of us being buyers on the trade deadline is kind of goofy. I think we just need to quiet down that talk for a little while here. What about Ernest Jones? I think he'll be kept, but maybe he doesn't look good the rest of this year. Yeah, I really don't know how people watch this game on their TV screens and conclude that we need to be talking about Geno right now. Like, honestly, despite everything, I think Geno played fine. He had some stuff that happened off the field, not during the play, that wasn't okay. But Geno was put in a very bad situation today, and he played pretty well. I know people don't want to necessarily listen to that argument right now, but yes, it is possible for a quarterback to do well in just keeping things barely above water. Thank you for the sub, by the way. I missed who subbed. Sorry, guys. My brain legitimately is working slower right now. Despite the bad class, do you think we take a shot at a raw QB? I do like Cam Ward, but he's going to go way too high. He's going to be the first overall pick at this rate. And I don't really like anybody else anymore. Like these quarterbacks suck is my problem. Have you seen Gino's comment in the presser about the fans that travel so good, etc.? I saw that. I was surprised he said it like that, but he's definitely right. Um, Austin, I don't think so. I don't think we're at that point yet. We're not the Jets. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's an NFL quarterback. I don't think he has the arm. Yeah, it's like the Connor Williams high snap. It's like, what the hell, man? I know mistakes and bad plays are going to happen, but that's something that just makes it look like you've never practiced before. That was awful. That shouldn't be okay. Nathan, we're not trading Draymond Jones. Nobody's going to take that contract. No way, no how. We don't need to be sitting here making up hypotheticals for things that have a 0% chance of happening. You said Bo Nix is an NFL QB? No, I said he didn't look like one in the game where we played him. I still don't like him that much. And if you think a good game he played against the Carolina Panthers is going to change my perspective there, you are in the wrong stream. Did we overrate the young players on this team? Well, I think some of them just aren't playing well right now, like Spoon. Like Spoon's just not playing that well. JSN maybe was overrated. He got a lot of hype coming out of Ohio State. Yeah, the people who wanted to trade DK from the last couple weeks need to have their opinion license revoked for about a month. They need to just be quiet for a little while. We're taking the license away. They're drunk. If we lose to the Rams, we're going to play out the string, of course, but I think in terms of having a good season, it's over. I kind of like Cade Klubnik, but I'm not even sure if he's coming out or not. Yep. Here's where Dallas blows the game. Man, I am struggling to hold coherent thoughts in my head. I'm not used to feeling like this, guys. Woo. Is DK like Tua where the offense can't function without them? Well, against a good defense that plays up and recognizes the fact that we don't have any ability to beat them over the top, yeah, it's really hard to get around. You think we should give Woolen a fat contract? I mean, we'll figure that out at the end of the year. I've been very high on his play before today, but today was really bad. You playing PC or console? Both. What cost this high? Well, I've been trying out a pen over the last couple of days, more than I usually do, to try to help with my cough. I don't know how much it's doing there, but sometimes it does calm me down a little bit, and I don't cough as much. So I've been experimenting with going a little bit further with it than I usually do, and it actually has me kind of mixed up. Yeah, I think we have to win against the Rams this upcoming week, or else we may as well just start playing all the rookies. I mean, honestly, I will admit this. If Connor Williams doesn't screw up and cost us maybe 11 points, and we end up losing this game kind of close, I think our attitude is a little bit different, right? If he doesn't screw up and we end up putting up like even, let's say, 24 points and lose 31-24, we are feeling different right now, admittedly. It's just, I can't get to the point where we actually win that game, right? I don't. Maybe you could say if the Josh Allen fumble didn't get kicked forward to his own player. Sportsdom was the name of the sub, by the way. Thank you, Sportsdom. Why do you have a cough? It's kind of left over from my cold that I had a couple of weeks ago. So, sometimes blowouts happen because of funky stuff like that, but we were still getting outgained like 3-1 for most of that game. Man, Cowboys wilting. The O-line was, I think the O-line did decently in pass protection today, but the run blocking, oh my God. But I will give them credit. I thought the pass protection was pretty decent. Obviously, Geno tends to make your pass protection always look better than it actually is, but I do think the pass protection was good. Run blocking is a different story. I think the offense is way too predictable. I think they have to be predictable because the offensive line's so bad. I don't know if there's much Grubb can do in this circumstance. Of course, it's a different game if DK played. Everything changes. I think that's pretty obvious. Can you guys still see me? Everything okay? YouTube is telling me there's some kind of error. Does JS gets fired this offseason? If I had to guess, no, but I don't think it's a definite no. It depends on how they perceive his tenure. Did his tenure start earlier this year, or did his tenure start in 2010? Okay, we're fine. All right, YouTube for some reason was just telling me that something was wrong. Okay, cool. Oh, man. I'd like to see some things shooken up this week in the lineup. Yeah, you could make some shuffling in like the interior offensive line, I think. How many off seasons do you think it will take for McDonald to get the players he wants? Really, he should be able to do it this off season. It doesn't take that much longer beyond your first year, right? You can start purging contracts if you really want to. Like, I really don't want to be the guy who tries to, like, diminish something. Because last week, the Seahawks did legitimately play great football against the Chargers. But, I'm sorry, Falcons. I don't know why I said Chargers. It's because they're showing Justin Herbert on TV. But at the same time, I think a good team doesn't let what happened today happen. I don't think a good team gets beat that badly. I just don't. Olu at left guard, he's never played left guard in his life that I know of. He's always been a center. I don't know why we'd assume that he'd be able to do it. How much time does Abraham buy Gino with this interior? Well, Abraham Lucas will help. Although, honestly, I'm going to be honest here. And if this was just a product of me not singling him out, let me know. Mike Gerald didn't really do anything all that wrong today, did he? Did Gerald, like, blow a bunch of blocks? Or I didn't notice. I thought the main problem was on the interior with the run blocking. Yeah, D. Williams really needs to be gone. He needed to be gone a while ago. If they have him on the roster this week, that's going to shake my faith. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, see, so it's like the right tackle wasn't even the problem today. That's the thing that's going to get replaced. So it can only go so far. Yeah, Gerald seemed like he was fine to me. Wow, the Niners just did a QB sneak with 2 yards to go. This one's over. Yeah, I thought the tackles played pretty well. It was just the interior that killed me. Tomlinson, Bradford, Haynes, Williams, whoever. Yeah, Dodson is a free agent. I don't think there's any way he comes back. I think it was a good signing. It was worth a try, but it doesn't seem like it's working to me. Connor at LG and Olu at center. That's more realistic, but Connor Williams probably wants to play center because in his mind, he is a center. Not a touchdown? You might be right. They'll go for it, though. Well, you don't have to challenge when they rule it a touchdown. Haynes had a 12 pass blocking grade. Well, he had the penalty, right? He had the holding call. Penalties will kill you on Pro Football Focus. I wonder what Gerald grades out as. I wish they would give Knight some reps over Dodson. That's another move you can make. I did not mind what I saw with Tyrese Knight. Although I do wonder if you see it full time and he wilts. How did you think Ernest Jones looked today? Um, he, I guess he was okay. Like, there's some stuff that I like, some stuff that I didn't. It's just like whatever, you know. He's whatever. I don't have a strong opinion of the way that he played. I know he put up numbers, but I don't know if those numbers were meaningful. "36 seconds left in the third quarter." I know the Steelers were willing to trade away that Troy Fatanu pick. No, we weren't going to draft Fatanu. We had a medical red flag on him that proved correct. How is Troy Fatanu? Why are we talking about that guy? That guy's not going to play a snap all season. I definitely have more distaste for Tomlinson than Bradford. I don't know if he's actually worse. I think Bradford's probably worse, but I'm much more okay with Bradford than Tomlinson. At least Bradford has the ability to get better. Yeah, Lomi at guard could be kind of fun. I'm open to that. People putting all the blame on Geno still, and it's getting old. Well, people who actually know what they're talking about know better than that, but there are definitely a lot of people like that, and I know what you mean. Was Connor Williams good before this week in pass protection? He had been getting better with every week. This was the first time he actually seemed to backslide to me. Yeah, Fatanu wasn't going to help anything. Fatanu, I mean, the medical red flags were apparently so bad, there's like a real chance he ends up like Abe Lucas, I think. Do you see us using a first-round pick on the defense? I kind of do, because that's where the strength of the draft is, but we'll see what happens when we actually get there. Pretentious Cameron, thank you for the $5. It's going to suck when Walker goes to a team with a functioning offensive line and he starts balling out. 1 yard rushing in first half is embarrassing. Well, he can ball out even without the offensive line, so yeah, if he ever gets one, watch out. Is there a fundamental problem with his defense? I think it's possible that the way McDonald has his defensive linemen play leads to the run defense playing the way that it does. I think that is a legitimate issue that we have. And it's on McDonald to find a way to counter it or just not do that anymore. Excuse me. So there is kind of a fundamental problem with it. And again, I mean, like, you cannot tell me this defense is so untalented that it's okay for them to play that poorly. This is not the least talented defense in the league. This is a defense that is probably no more or no less talented than any other typical defense out there. DJ Dallas was a good kick returner. What are you talking about? DJ Dallas was good at kick returns, guys. Why are we pretending otherwise? We can give him credit for what he was good at. Yeah, he was a bad punt returner, but he was a good kick returner. One of the better ones, actually. You think we are cooked? I mean, I'm not going to say it like that, but today was bad. I'll say that. Y2K, thank you for the $5 super chat. In a Dynasty 2 quarterback league, should I trade Taylor for a first-round pick, 2 first-round picks? I already traded Geno, a 27-second. Well, the first-round picks, what do those get you? Rookies from the most recent class, right? I don't like the draft that much for that kind of stuff. So I kind of would not do that trade just because I don't really like a lot of the players that you might end up with those picks because I don't think like this next class very much. How do you think Howell would have done that game? Do I really have to do this? Sam Howell? Do you know what Sam Howell would do on this team? He'd get sacked like 8 times a game and then go sit on the sideline. Like, Sam Howell, all he would do is go out there and get sacked 8 times a game and roll over to the next one. Why do you have some desperate need to see that? Only a wizard quarterback can survive behind an offensive line this bad, people. We happen to have one. Whatever else Geno Smith isn't doing, he's doing a very good job avoiding sacks. right? The fact that he only got sacked once in this game and it was in garbage time is pretty crazy. Noah, thank you for the 10. I'm not sure what currency that is. At what point do you consider the players just aren't as talented versus coaching? They look good on other teams' flash, but here they disappoint. Streamers, reporters, media rave about talent, but it doesn't show up. Well, on the defense now, yeah, the defense, it has to be a lot. We have to talk about the players a lot because one, they got one coach fired. And really, if you go back to Ken Norton, you could say two coaches. And now they're on a third one, so you can't be putting it on the coaches a bunch. No, I am settled down, FPS. I'm just sick of seeing Howell's name. Ever since this game ended, I get so many comments. Howell will save us. Howell will do this. Howell will do that. Why do you want to let Sam Howell get sacked 8 times a game? I mean, more than anything, I don't think our players are necessarily overrated. I just think they're not playing well at this time. Like, I don't think anybody's rating Spoon all that high at the moment because he's not playing that well. Right? He's going through a little bit of a sophomore slump. And also, I feel like the other players on the team are not doing a good enough job to complement the young talent we have. Like, today, the interior defensive line didn't show up at all, so Maffei and Hall can't really do anything. Yeah, I understand FPS. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Whatever. But I just don't know why people want to torture Sam Howell so much. What's your opinion of Josh Joby? I mean, he got beat up a lot today. He had the pick, but he also got picked on, so he's probably just I mean, at the end of the day, he's a low talent player, and if you ride him for too long, he will eventually break. What do you think about Michael Williams? He's the Georgia edge rusher, right? I'm open to it. You keep sticking up for Geno when he's been maybe mediocre at best. That's all he'll ever be. If you actually think Geno's been mediocre at best over his Seahawks career, then you don't have a brain, buddy. It blows my mind that people actually think that. Like, they don't understand how hard it is to throw for 30 touchdowns on a team that is doing a well below average job supporting you. Noah, thank you for the 7. Is that pounds or euros? I feel like that's a euro. I'm going to say it's a euro. What do you think about complete tearing it down and stock up in picks and only keeping essentials? Coaches get their guys in massive cash / young guys. I mean, are you really going to just shuffle like JSN and Witherspoon and Hall and Charbonnet and Walker and Woolen and Cross and Maffei and Murphy out the door here? Are you really going to reboot like that? Like, I don't know if I'm doing that. These are still young, good players. Like, I think, in order to consider doing something like that, you got to be in the position that, like, the Panthers are in. The Panthers should probably do stuff like that. We're not the Panthers. Dude, the Niners' third string running back is destroying the Cowboys. Our team is already pretty young, is the thing. There are just a couple areas that we haven't addressed, and those areas have become the focal point of, like, almost every game. Like, the game is all about how bad our interior offensive line is. Your opinion of JSN? I mean, he's good. I don't think he's special, though, which is kind of how I felt in college. And I don't see anything, like, special with him, right? He's a good player, but he's not Amon Ra, and that's kind of what I was hoping we would get. Mm-mm. 3rd and 1 for the Niners. Purdy. Oh, Purdy. Oh, Purdy almost messed up. The same people who are hating on Gino are the same people who did mental gymnastics to defend Russ. Oh, believe me, I've noticed that crossover. I have noticed that crossover big time. And it it does make me feel like there's something more important than just something bigger than just football on these people's minds or something, you know? Only reason people hype up JSN was because of Tom Grossi crying about us taking him. I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say that he just looks like another good slot receiver. Miles, thank you for the $2 tip. How do you think Mike Gerald played today? I actually said a little bit ago, I thought to myself, like, I didn't notice him do anything bad or wrong, right? Like, if you were making a list of players to criticize on the offensive line, it would be the interior. It wouldn't be those outside guys. So Gerald did fine. Well, Witherspoon's extension doesn't come up for almost 2 years anyway, Matthew. So we're going to know way more about him by the time that extension comes around, but you have to plan for it. What do we rate Gino in our conference if we get the O-line? Is he better than Purdy, Matt, or Kyler? Well, I don't think he's as good as Stafford, although by the time next year comes around, Stafford's going to maybe have his body break down and retire. Yeah, the tackles were not the problem. It was the interior play that really drove me nuts in this game. Yeah, I mean, I do want people do need to understand that Teron Johnson was defending JSN today. He is going to make life a little bit harder for JSN. You say Gino's not the problem, but then look at all the R had this year. What is an R? What? What is R? Rumors that Stafford's wife has been begging him to try to retire. That makes sense. I'm surprised he didn't after his back gave out 2 years ago, honestly. I thought 2 years ago was it. No, Fields is garbage too. Fields is garbage. Howell's better than Fields. What's your opinion on sports betting? It's a thing that people can choose to do if they want to do. Okay, Austin, the thing is Campbell took over a really bad Lions team. McDonald is taking over a team that won 9 games 2 straight years. So I don't think it's that simple. Yeah, if we lose next week, then people are really going to just check out on the season, and I can't blame them, but obviously I don't like it when people. Oh, that guy tried to kill Zeke. Where's the flag? Is there no flag? What? Am I insane, or did he just try to twist Zeke's head off like a bottle of soda? Should we have Don't for an offensive coach to guarantee more points and maybe a serviceable defense? Well, I think the offensive coaches that we were considering didn't impress us in the interviews, like Kafka and Ben Johnson. Like that was why Ben Johnson didn't get the job. He during the in-person interview portion, he they didn't like what they saw. So there just wasn't the right guy to get. All right, so yeah, I would just really be interested to know why McDonald's not doing any of his like simulated pressure stacked fronts stuff. Well, Henrique, the Baltimore defense really wasn't that great prior to McDonald's hiring, right? It's not like they had an elite defense and he just inherited an elite defense and made them elite. Now, he probably does need good players that we don't fully have. Let me look at Baltimore so far this year. Their defense hasn't been that good. Think about that. Come on, Dak, do something. Hmm. I mean, at minimum, Mike is a great defensive mind. There is a possibility that he ends up being in over his head as a head coach. But he's definitely not a defensive dummy. Come on, Dak. Oh, come on. Based on your analysis, what's our defense lacking? Right now, they're lacking pretty much everything, right? I like the way the team is built in terms of the individual players. But Witherspoon not playing well. Woolen played terrible today, too, by the way. And you're not getting any pass rush, and Hall has that crap game, and Mafe has a pretty nondescript game. All right, Dallas. Here we go. This is your last chance. A scheme that works for the talent. I mean, it's not like this is having success, right? This defense currently ranks near the bottom. This is not Seahawks related, but are you planning on playing Until Dawn on Twitch? I played Until Dawn years ago on Twitch. Maybe, well, maybe I was still on YouTube when I did that. Yeah. I streamed that game on YouTube. But I already did Until Dawn. Although that does remind me, I guess while we're here, I should let people know I woke. Oh, Chase Stern, thank you for the member message. I like the Geno, but what's the point in paying a 32-year-old QB when you're obviously 2 or 3 years away from real contention? Well, the question you have to ask yourself is, do you think you're 2 or 3 years away from real contention? Is that actually the case? Or are you one off season from a real contention? We see teams turn it around very quickly all the time. The Eagles, I think, won 6 games in 2016, and then they won the Super Bowl with their backup quarterback the next year. But anyway, tonight, probably sometime around 9 or 9:15, I will be going live on Twitch doing Resident Evil 3 Remake on PlayStation, which I have not played before. This is obviously a continuation of Halloween week. 2 nights ago we did Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. Last night we did Amanda the Adventurer 2. And now we're going to do tonight Resident Evil 3. I don't know if we're going to be able to beat it or not, but it's possible. And once we beat it, that's going to be the final game of the marathon, of the Halloween weekly marathon. Silent Hill 2 remake. So if that sounds interesting to you, give me a follow over on Twitch. Link should be in the description. Jody Allen's a good owner. It's not her fault that a bunch of fans have decided to use the team as a side hustle rather than something they root for. Like, how is that Jody Allen's fault? A bunch of quote-unquote Seahawks fans have decided that they'd rather use the team to make money and sell their tickets to opposing fans. Like, how is that her fault? Okay, Cowboys trying to claw their way back into it, but I mean, it's a lot to ask. And the Niners have blown some games this year, though. I'm probably going to be pretty bad at Resident Evil 3 tonight, by the way, because I am still a little bit high. Opposing fans have been filling up Lumen for 3 years now. I have heard that, yeah. I mean, I have heard it, but this year it seems worse than ever. Well, Michael, you know my cough problem? I had some people suggest that I try a little THC pen to try to help get my cough under control because it might be a mental aspect of like my anxiety. So it's one of those little pens. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So I've been trying it a little bit lately, but I'm not used to it because I typically don't do that kind of stuff. So are the refs going to be paid by the Rams next week? Well, the game is going to be in Seattle. No coughs can linger for months? Possibly. But I had some people suggest to me that, maybe a THC pen could help. So I'm trying it out a little bit. And I'm not used to it. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a free country, but we as fans need to figure out a way to bring some home field advantage back because the way things have gone with this fan base. I mean, look, this fan base has proven many times that they will bail out very quickly. They are very fair weather. They will stop paying attention if the team is not good. So once you lose them, it's hard to get them back. So maybe it's just a matter of this team needing to play better. No, the cough was because I was sick, and the cough won't go away. I don't really have an opinion of that, Jacob. It was a really bad missed call, and that's really all that need be said about it. Nothing else to say other than it's a bad call. It's embarrassing how many road fans show up. It is starting to get. It is starting to become a problem, and maybe people. I don't know. Maybe if the economy gets better and people start doing a little bit better financially, they can afford to not sell those tickets to opposing fans. No, the Giants loss was way worse, guys. The Giants loss was way worse. What's a realistic time frame for the roster to be recomped? 3 years? No, it should not take that long at all. This isn't, baseball, right? In baseball, it can take 4 or 5 years to get your guys in there because you have to draft them and then they come up through the minor leagues. In football, you can turn things around in one good off season. If you're taking 3 seasons to get things in the right place, you're taking too long. That's part of the reason why Carroll had to go. Uh-oh. Is that Pearsall? Yeah, that's Pearsall. Wacky. Field goal doesn't necessarily end the game, but a touchdown would. Well, the thing with the Rams is they don't really have a lot of fans anyway, right? So, are there Rams fans that can come take over our stadium? I don't think so. We all hope this would be a statement game. Turns out it was. Yeah. It's going to be really hard to get anybody to take us seriously the rest of the season. Like I said, like, you really shouldn't ever get blown out in the NFL, I feel like, because the talent levels run close enough to where if you're giving effort, you're not going to get blown out. So once you get blown out even once, I think it's really hard to earn people's trust back. I'm having a hard time understanding why the defense hasn't improved more. The D-line and edge positions look good on paper. I'll tell you, Leonard Williams took this game off. Like, Leonard Williams didn't do anything. My dad is in the know with a lot of Seahawks fans. He's like friends with a lot of the more well-known Seahawks fans and people in that community. And he says that people were trying to give their tickets away for free earlier today. They'd rather give the ticket away for nothing than go to the game. And I think that's also kind of the dirty little secret here. It's not fun to go to a football game anymore. In 2024, going to a football game is actually a negative thing. It's work. It's a sacrifice that you have to pay for. And at this point, you're doing it to support the team. You're doing it because you want to be there for your team. You're not doing it because you're going to enjoy it. You're doing it because the team needs you. There's nothing fun about going to a football game anymore. Do we regret cutting Eskridge over D. Williams? Well, I would definitely say we regret having D. Williams on our team in any context. I don't think we wish we had Eskridge. How is it not fun to go to a football game? Well, I guess it would be okay if you live really close to the stadium, but if you're like me and you got to commute an hour, and there are definitely people who go to those who would have to commute an hour or more to go to the game, then you got to walk around everywhere. You got to spend a way too much money on food and drink, cram yourself into these little seats. The weather can be bad pretty routinely. And then you have to start thinking about the drive home. You have to start thinking about how am I going to get home? Do I got to drop the kids off at school tomorrow? Do I have work? It's like a job going to a football game now. But it's really not fun to go to a football game anymore, especially now when you can see the game 10 times better at home on your TV. Like maybe in the 80s or 90s when TVs looked like shit, that was one thing, but now you get a much better viewing experience at home. Like think about going to like a night game, like a Monday night football game, and you're thinking like, oh man, how am I gonna how am I gonna get up tomorrow? Like there's gonna be some giant line to get back on the freeway. What time do I have to get up tomorrow to get the kids to school? You're thinking about all that stuff, man. It's like it's not really fun to go to games anymore, I feel like. Yeah, parking's another good one. We're not trading Draymond Jones for draft capital. No one's going to trade for him with that contract. That's crazy talk. Well, yeah, Jason, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to stop you, but it's like a legitimate sacrifice to your life to go to a game now. It's more work than anything else. You don't get anywhere near as good a look at the team, the game, than you do at home. I feel like it's a little different for baseball because baseball games tend to be more chill. Excuse me. I think it's a little better with baseball, but going to a football game is work, man. That was a backwards pass. I made a video talking about that recently, Jacob. I can't remember the number, but it's a decent amount. It's probably like 11.5 million. Okay, but our tech bro's going to Seahawks games, Austin. Why do we pay Noah Fant? I'm still trying to figure that one out. He's not a bad player, but doesn't seem like he fits what we do. I don't know. It's. I'm really confused because we re-signed him. We didn't choose to keep him. I had to say, but the Seahawks are stuck in NFL purgatory. Worst place to be. I don't think they're stuck. I don't think they're necessarily stuck, but it is a little bit frustrating seeing the way in which things ebb and flow and nothing's allowed to really get ahead. I've gone to many Seahawks games, Dylan. I'd say at least 12. I don't go to a lot, but I've been to quite a few. Most of the ones I went to when I was a kid. Yeah, I'm gonna do hot tub streams, fun stuff this winter for sure. Although we actually had to unplug the hot tub recently. I'm gonna have to go see if it's okay for me to plug it in again because we found out that a rat was living underneath the hot tub because it was so warm, so we had to turn it off. I may need to go plug it back in. Did somebody just get hurt on the Niners? 51. I think going to college games are a lot more fun. I could see that. I've only been to one Huskies game in my life, though. I think we beat Idaho or Idaho State or something. We moved on from Pete now. Maybe we should move on from Schneider. I have wondered, does the clock reset? Ooh, CD. CD's nuts. Still plenty of time, actually. We got a game. No, rats are disgusting. You guys are out of pocket. Rats are disgusting. My dogs found a rat a couple weeks ago out in their play area. AJ Barner's my favorite tight end on our roster. We might need to play him a lot more just so we can like have a little bit more unpredictability on run v pass. Jake Slowbro is worthless and brings nothing. Would rather see LaVishka or Derek Young getting his reps. The only thing with that is I do think he's a legitimately really good run blocker. That's probably why we value him. But yeah, I'm not high on Bobo the way people are. People took it way too far with the memes. I still have a Sugar Glider Nitro Hawk. A Sugar Glider is not a rat, not even close. They're much cleaner. They don't really get diseases. They don't eat garbage. He made the extra point, right? Yeah, I think he did. I feel like home field in NFL isn't really a factor now. Not as much as it used to be, for sure. Not as much as it used to be. That's not just a Seahawks thing. What's the point of slow bow run blocking if they can't and don't run? Well, I think they're trying to figure out a way they can unlock the outside zone, and you need receivers who can block in order to run outside zone. But it's too predictable because they rotate the players in and out, and it's just too predictable, I think. Yeah, sugar gliders are not like rats. Rats are disgusting. And I'm talking about wild rats. I know there are domesticated rats that are probably perfectly fine, but rats carry diseases. The only team who really has home field advantage is the Packers in the colder months. I'd say the Bears, too. I think the Bears get legitimate home field advantage for the same reason. Come on, Purdy. Dude, if Purdy's going to keep sliding head first like that, then the defenders need to be allowed to actually jack him up. Any word on the fight between Reed and Hall? I think we already kind of know everything that happened there, right? Reed was the veteran trying to, settle down the young guy who was acting up. Rats are really smart. I'm sure they are. Yeah. If there's anything good that can come out of this game, hopefully it's that the fans realize how good DK is and how important he is and how much this offense does not work without him. I don't watch UFC. Oh, how did that ball not come out? How did that ball not come out? Brock Purdy did well to hold on to the ball there. Dude, Cowboys fans will be insufferable if they pull this off, but it's very much worth it. Ah, man. Yeah, sorry guys. I wish I had more to say right now. I really do. But a game like that it cannot help but leave you a little bit lost and confused. Yeah, that's the thing. We're not experimenting. You're totally right. Oh, don't tell me. Okay, they got him. But again, how much can we blame these coaches when the players got the last coach fired? That tells me it's not the coach. Mm. I saw someone saying it's a loser mentality to not want the 49ers to lose the Super Bowl. I don't want the 49ers to win a game. Hey, drop top. Wait, so you're saying our players got Pete fired and never really thought about it like that? Well, they definitely did because their unacceptably poor performance on the field, regardless of anything the coaches are doing, we wouldn't even consider firing Carroll if the players were playing well and we were winning games because of it, right? At the end of the day, it does come down to that. Like, whenever a coach gets fired, the players were always the one that got him fired because they didn't play well enough for him to keep his job. Now, that doesn't mean it's not his fault. Oh, you dumbass. Can you speak on Michael Dixon? Well, he's one of the best punters in NFL history. I don't know what to say beyond that. But it's depressing that we talk about him as much as we do. But I remember you saying it was a scheme issue more than a player thing. Oh, I still agree with that. But, players can overcome bad schemes sometimes and still play well enough to make the playoffs and be competitive. Right? The players are still the one out there on the field when the Steelers have almost 500 yards of offense with their third string quarterback. Dude, Dak keeps throwing it right to Niners. And by the way, I'm pro Dak. It'll be a little harder to be pro Dak if they don't win this game. I am a pro Dak Prescott football fan overall, but I really could use this one. Well, one of the leaders is Laken Tomlinson. We know that. That's probably part of the reason why we like him as much as we do, because he's not doing anything on the field that is making us like him. Dak going deep. Wow, Turpin. Yeah, I mean that continues to be the main thing that I keep coming back to. You said you never smoked before, so do you have more anxiety after smoking, or is it helping? I'm still kind of figuring that out myself. I think that it is helping, but I don't think it's removing the cough. So that makes me feel like the cough is not that. Fourth down. Come on, Dak. Come on, Dak. Can we get a flag? Can a brother get a flag? No. Well, Niners going to do it again. Did you smoke? I'm trying a THC pen. Pretty weak, but I'm just trying to see if it can help reduce my cough. Hmm. Maybe Brian Flores is the one example of a coach who didn't get fired by his players performing poorly. I guess that may be the one example. So much for the $60 million man. Oh, well. Mm. Mm. A weed pen won't help your cough? I've had some people suggest to me that it might. So far, not really having a lot of luck with it, but it was worth a try. It's not like it's actually bad for you or anything, right? I think you're right. I think we've lost a lot of coin tosses this year. I think you're right. But obviously, that's the least of my concerns right now. All right, so 2 minutes left in this game. Once again, I want to remind everybody that I will be going live on Twitch a little after this stream ends. Resident Evil 3 Remake is the game tonight. We're going to try to beat it tonight. I don't know if we're going to be able to. But we are going to be starting it, and that's going to continue on the Halloween week of horror games. Do you think we extend Gino or draft a quarterback? I don't really like any of these quarterbacks, so I do think Gino's the more likely outcome here, but I'm not sure. Right now, the team needs to actually show that they can at least be decent so they can justify paying a quarterback. Well, I don't want to get too deep into the details on this, but I was in a car ride. Oh, that's the game. I was in a car ride with a couple people who were using the pens, and from the secondhand smoke, they noticed that I stopped coughing. So it made them think that maybe it's an anxiety thing more than it is a health thing. I would like to draft a wide receiver if Lockett retires, which I assume that he will. All right, guys. So this game's over. Didn't quite go our way. Nothing really went our way today, but thanks for coming out for the stream. Sorry I couldn't say anything a little bit more comforting right now. I know people could use better news, but it sucks right now. We're in a bad spot and we're not feeling good, but that can all change next week. Okay. I will see you guys either tonight on Twitch or tomorrow with the videos. Thanks for coming out. Go Hawks.